Hey, how's it going? Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is video number 4, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I have one video up on YouTube right now about how to get a job and apply and all the paperwork and documentation you need. I will post the video on the packing list and tips for China, and then also, once you've arrived, what you need to do. So this video is going to be about money, cost of living, earning money in China. What can you expect to earn? How much does it cost to live? And have fun, travel, go out, do those type of things. So I'm going to dive into that, and hopefully this will not be too long. The first video was pretty long, and it took a while to upload because of the VPN here. So, how much can you expect to earn? This really, like any job, is based on your education and qualifications. But let's say you have a base, the basic requirements. Let's say you have a 4-year degree, no teaching experience, you're a native speaker, and everything that I discussed in the first video. So we'll start with a university professor. Yes, you can be a university professor with just a 4-year degree teaching English in university. I actually initially accepted a job at a university in southern China, and I'm so glad I didn't because it's so hot down there. I don't like the humidity. And then I switched to high school. So for whatever reason, and I haven't quite figured this out, the higher the the older the students are, the less money you get paid. I don't know why. So in university, you're going to get offered like $1,000 a month to maybe $1,300 or $1,500 a month max. I don't know why this is. It's I guess you have higher prestige being a professor, but you have a lower income, and a lot of times you've got to live in the dorm. And I'm just going to say, don't live in the school dorm, whether it's a high school or a university. Don't have them get you an apartment. Okay, so moving on to elementary school. So that's first grade all the way up to high school, so to 12th grade. You're going to get anywhere from $1,500 to about $3,000 a month, okay, in that range. When I first got here, I was getting paid about $2,500 a month, US dollars, okay? So that's a huge range. So just remember, if it's in a large city and they're trying to lowball you a little bit, and obviously if I'm helping you try and get a job with one of these schools, I will help negotiate as well. But don't let them lowball you. They're going to say, oh, we can't afford to pay. And then, don't be afraid to just refuse the position and say, hey, I'll go to another school. Because there are thousands of schools in China looking for English teachers. You have the advantage. You have the power. You can say no, and believe me, it's very difficult for them to find teachers, good teachers. So you have the power. Don't let them think they have the power. Okay, so kindergarten and preschool. So this is, you're looking at 3 years old to about 6 years old. This is actually where I'm teaching now. You earn $2,000 to about $3,500. So if you come over from the States and you go to, let's say, a third-tier city, you're probably going to get paid around 12,000 to 18,000 renminbi, which is 2,000-ish, a little under 2,000 actually, to almost 3,000, say $2,800 or so, depending on the conversion rate. All right. So the higher qualifications you have, the more you're going to get at kindergartens. I have seen some kindergartens that they say if you have 5 years experience and a TOEFL, TESOL certificate, and a bachelor's degree, they're going to pay you $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Those are rare to see, those type of jobs, but I do see them. If you have teaching experience and you are like a administrator, a principal, an assistant dean or something like that in the States, and you come over here, you can get upwards of $6,000 or $7,000 a month. You can get really, really good high salaries here. And remember, that is tax-free. You don't pay taxes as an expat American living overseas and working. I believe I want to say it's either $96,000 or $106,000. So if you earn under roughly $100,000 a year, you pay no income tax. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. This is what you clear. When they say we're going to pay you $3,000 a month, that's not, okay, they don't take taxes out of that. Now, there is Chinese taxes. It's pretty straightforward. I always negotiate that the income that you earn is the net. They've already taken so when they say you're going to earn $3,000, I always tell them that is after they've already taken the taxes out. So whatever the tax rate is has been pulled out. Okay, training centers, these can get you anywhere from $2,000 to say $3,200 in the low $3,000s. The difference here is at a training center, and I've worked part-time at some here, you're going to work, you're going to go in and teach 8 or 12 classes pretty much from morning to night. You're going to work 4 or 5 days a week, and you're going to teach 6 to 10 or 12 classes a day. Now the classes can be anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes, but I mean, if you're dealing with, say, 5 or 6-year-olds and you're going class after class after class, basically from 7 a.m. to noon, you have a lunch. You've done 5 classes in the morning. Your voice is hoarse. You're tired. You're worn out. So you need to have this. You need to know this going into it. And training centers also can have a little bit more leeway on how much money they pay you, so you can negotiate a little bit. Okay, so those are the 4 main areas of the actual jobs that give you visas. That's how much you're going to get paid. Alright, so remember, as a rule of thumb, the younger the student, the higher the salary. Also remember this, the visa, the work visa, remember, Z visa that you are given by the company is sponsored by them. They are covering it. They are putting their, basically their reputation on the line. So technically you cannot work for another company when you're working for the visa sponsored company. So if you work for company A and they pay for your visa and they're sponsoring you, you can't work for other jobs technically. Now, everyone does this, including myself. I'll take a part-time job, I'll do tutoring and things like that, and I'll get into that here. But side jobs are really where you can make a lot of extra quick cash. They'll pay you right after or whatever, cash, or they'll send you WeChat or whatever. You can get that. You can make a lot of money doing that. And these are called monkey jobs. Okay? These are just quick, easy jobs that are not involved really in teaching. Maybe a restaurant wants to take some videos of you, put it on the website or on their WeChat page or whatever, and that, Chinese will go, oh, foreigners go there, I want to go there, and that brings in business, and they may say, okay, we're going to pay you 500 renminbi, which is like, I don't know, 75, 80 bucks or so, and give you some free food for a month or something. You can do that, and they'll do that. I had a friend of mine who was on the bus, and she saw a video of herself at a noodle restaurant in our hometown on the TV bus. They have a little bus for advertisements, and she didn't even authorize it. They just did it without her permission. So we had her teaching assistant call the restaurant and basically said either you have to ask her permission and pay her or take the video down. But there's an example. They want foreigners in their commercials, in their advertising. I mean, I've been paid to go to events with a pharmaceutical herbal drug company and basically just give a 45-minute speech, or 30, I think it was 30 or 45 minutes, on vitamins, exercising in America, how do Americans stay in shape. I gave a little talk, I went around, I ate dinner with some of the people at this big conference, and I got paid like almost $100 for 30, 45 minutes of talking, and then 2 hours of whining and dining basically. And they just, boom, cash right after, done. Okay? But remember, the monkey jobs, they just want a foreign face. Sometimes a business or corporation will hire you. They say, put a suit on, come to this big business meeting, and just sit at the table. Okay? And they want the other Chinese to go, wow, this company has foreigners that are doing business with them, and it raises their prestige, it raises their face. Okay? It makes them more impressive. So that's something else. And basically you just sit there and listen and do nothing, and they'll pay you, $100 or whatever it is that you agree to. I actually did a news interview on CCTV for a beef restaurant and company, and I think it was like a similar to a 60 Minutes piece, and I did that again with my Canadian teacher friend, and we went into the restaurant and they stuffed us with steak and just beef and steak, and basically the owner said, I'm going to keep bringing out steak until you get sick. And I mean, I was eating steak all night. They're filming me, and they wanted to know, because I was born in Texas, what's the difference between the beef in China and the beef in Texas, because everybody says, oh, Texas has great steaks and things like that, which it does. And they wanted to know, what are the differences? Is it better? Is it worse? How is this cut versus a cut back in the States? And they were giving me free meat, free meals for a long time. I also am invited. I can go to their restaurant anytime I want. So those are just some benefits, to being a foreigner. All right, tutoring. Tutoring, you can expect to charge $15 to say $45 or $50 an hour. I generally charge in the $25 to $30 an hour range. I think that's fair. Anything more than that I think is just greedy, but that's up to you. Sometimes they're going to say, hey, I need a foreign teacher to teach my kid or to teach a businessman, and the businessman, they think the more they spend, the more impressive it is, or the more value they're getting, or if they're not spending a lot of money, it's not worth it. So I've heard stories, I don't know anybody who's done it, but I've heard stories where they'll pay you, okay, I'm going to meet you, say 2-3 times a week, and they pay you $5,000-$6,000 a month. Okay, I've never actually heard of anybody I know, just rumors, but I've heard of that, so maybe there's something to it. I don't know. I have been tutoring a student, an adult, for the past year and a half or so, and I meet her 2 or 3 times a week. We go to a coffee shop, a restaurant, and we're sitting there for an hour or two, and I just charge her a flat 200 renminbi, okay, which is about $30 or so. It's very simple. I don't have to follow anybody's rules. I can teach whatever I want. She usually has English books that she studies from. She'll ask questions. We'll talk. I'll teach her about the culture in the States and differences and things like that. Moving on, other schools. So you will get offers all the time from schools. I was given an offer to teach in the country of Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar, in the capital. Basically what happened was, through a man that I met in Xiamen traveling at the airport, he asked to use my computer to check his email. He was Dutch, he owns a company, he wanted to do business with me. That fell through, and he ended up recommending me to a school in Mongolia who messaged me, said, we will fly you up for the interview, put you in a hotel, and basically I paid nothing except some of my meals and shopping, but everything was covered. And I told them I'm not interested, but they said, we really want to have you come up and do this. So you can really get into some really good stuff. So I had a free, I think I was there 5 or 6 days in Mongolia. The interview was 2 hours at the school, and then I was there for the rest of the time just sightseeing and eating and having a good time. So you can get a lot of things like that being over here. Because you're a foreigner, there's not very many. They're going to throw things at you and offer you a lot of things. So other schools will message you. They'll say, hey, I got your WeChat from blah, 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 blah. Can you come and teach on Saturday morning these 3 classes, and we'll pay you $25 an hour, the equivalent in Chinese currency. I've done that. There was a time I was working at 8 or 9 different schools in this city, and I would just go after school at my main job, and then I'd go here and teach a class, and Wednesdays I teach here, and that's actually how I found my new job that I'm in now. So you can earn a lot of money. I mean, I was pulling in, honestly, in a week, probably in the neighborhood of $500 to $700 when I was working all those 8 or 9 different schools, just in side jobs, not in my main job. And that basically was just play money. I saved it up. I went to Thailand, I went to Laos, Hong Kong, those type of things, and you can really have a good time. Now remember, if your visa sponsoring school or business, training center finds out, you can get in trouble. So that is something, but I can tell you that every single foreigner in China does it, and for the most part, if you keep it quiet and stuff, it's not a big deal. Okay, so moving on, cost of living. The cost of living here is very, very low. I mean, almost nothing. You've got to look at it this way. if you're back in the States and you don't have to pay your mortgage, or if you don't have to pay your rent, how much money does that free up? Probably 40 to 60% of your actual income goes to your house. If you don't have that cost anymore, it opens up a wide range of possibilities. So first of all, your rent is covered. Okay? A lot of times, like my first year with my first school here, they covered the utilities, and then they changed it in the new contract, and I had to pay the utilities. So sometimes you don't even have to pay utilities, but I'll go over utilities. Electric, your power, electric bill every month, and this depends on how much you use, if the air conditioning is running, but on average is about $20 a month. Okay? And that's a little high, I think, probably closer to 15. I mean, I've been here in this apartment for 2 weeks, and I put $8 on there, and the power still hasn't gone out. I'd say about $4 to $5 per month for your water bill, and $10 a month roughly for your internet, Wi-Fi and whatever. Sometimes you'll have a building fee, and that's basically so they can keep the apartment building clean and trash pickup or whatever. That's about $30 a year. Okay, and that's pretty much you. Sometimes you'll have a gas bill if you have a gas, like I have gas here, and that's probably going to cost you anywhere from $5 or $8 a month. I mean, it's really, really low. All your utilities, at worst, are probably going to run you $40, $50 a month at the worst, at the highest. Okay. So food, if you eat locally, local food, if you go to Burger King, you're going to drop more than you pay in the States. But if you go to the noodle stand, today I bought these little, basically it's like a cake, doughed, filled with meat, vegetables, onions, and I paid 14 renminbi, $2 and change for 4. And I had 2 for lunch and 2 for dinner, and that was my lunch and dinner. Okay, and I paid about $2 and say 30 cents. So you can honestly, if you want to eat out in a restaurant, a noodle shop, nothing fancy, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, $10 a day will cover it, and that's eating out. Okay, now if you go shopping and you buy, groceries to cook at home, it'll be cheaper. Okay, but it also depends on what you're buying. I mean, vegetables and fruit here, you can get bags and bags of fruits and vegetables for a few dollars. I mean, it's crazy. Apples, oranges, and I have to say the apples in China are the best I've ever eaten. And I lived all over the U.S., and I'm not trying to dog the U.S. out, but the apples here are fantastic. So you can eat cheap in restaurants if you know how, if you're smart about it. Now, you can go to some of these international hotels and drop $150 on a meal. They've got that too. Shopping. If you go to the malls, they've got a Ralph Lauren store just 3 miles up the road from here at the mall. You're going to spend for a shirt $100, $150. So if you go to the open air markets where they sell the knockoff t-shirts and polo shirts and stuff, you can spend $12 or $15. It's cheap. Okay, so next section we're going to talk about is saving money and paying off debt. Let's just say between your main job and your part-time jobs you're earning $2,500 a month, and you put $500 a month to bills, food, going out and drinking. Beer here, you can get basically the equivalent of a 40-ounce bottle of beer for $1.30, $1.50. I mean, it's really cheap, and that's at a bar, Chinese beer. Now, if you get export American beer or German beer, it's going to be much more, but that's what it costs. So let's say you're making $2,500 a month, you're spending $500 on food, incidentals, whatever you want to do, you're going out, whatever. That's leaving you with this huge chunk of change, $2,000 or whatever more if you're earning more, that you can save or travel with or pay off your student loans. And that's a big thing that I'm trying to push. I know I advertise on a lot of university job boards. If you've got a student loan and the average is around $40,000 a year, you can... Okay, I'm back. My girlfriend just came in. So, $2,500 a month, so you can pay off those student loans pretty quickly. The average student loan I read is about $38,000 to $40,000. if you're here for 2 or 3 years, you can pay that almost off or completely off until you're gone, and then you've got no more debt. So that is a huge deal. Or, stay here 2 years, you got 24, 25, say 30,000 saved up, you can put that down on a house when you go back home. Okay, the last part is traveling. So you're in Asia, so why not travel? So since moving here, I've been all over China, Hong Kong, Thailand, Mongolia, Laos. Generally, the airline tickets are cheap here. Round trip from China to Thailand was about $230. Hotels in China can range from $15 to $1,500 a night. A good mid-range hotel will run you about $20 outside of the bigger cities. I compare it to like a Holiday Inn or a Best Western, middle of the road. So this is just a quick video on how money works and how much you're going to earn and what things cost, and just a little how-to on a few things here. So I will get this posted soon. And once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to message me anytime at chinaconsulting@mail.com, or send me a message down below, comments, whatever you want to say. And I hope you all like my stickers that I have on the wall. That was from the last teacher that I had here. And there's Sandy right there. So, okay, I will talk to you later, and have a good day. Bye.